this hiking at Great Smoky Mountains National Park has brought me back to the simple joys of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, chips, and a Diet Coke to wash it down. Whew!
Did you know that the Great Smoky Mountains National Park is by far the most visited national park of all 63 parks, with over 14 million visitors per year? These are statistics from 2022. A park ranger said to me during my visit that it's pretty much a zoo between March and Christmas. There really isn't an off-season for the Great Smoky Mountains. To start my visit, I spent 4 nights here in Cades Cove, and to get there, I went through Gatlinburg.
It is a zoo of people and traffic. I have a pretty high tolerance for shopping and all, but this is just way too much for me. I feel like I want to come to the Great Smoky Mountains and see the Great Smoky Mountains, and I don't. This is crazy. I don't know how I got stuck in this. This is nuts.
Okay, so let's get into this park, and I'll talk about how my first 24 hours went. I got settled into my site at the campground and then headed out by bike to tour the Cades Cove Loop. This is an 11-mile, one-way road with several stops along the way to view historical buildings from the 1800s, learn about history, possibly view some wildlife. This road can get pretty crowded, so be prepared to move along very slowly or come to a full stop, particularly if someone ahead spots some wildlife. Drivers and bikers share this road very peacefully. I stopped at every marker and read about the pioneers who settled here. At the far end of the loop road is a working grist mill, which has historically been critical for area residents to feed their families and animals on their farms. I found this to be one of the most interesting stops on the loop.
Same stones that he used in 1870. The rest of the mill was restored in the early 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps. So the majority of what you see in here today is about 85 years old. So we're 100% water powered. The water wheel outside is what turns everything that you see there underneath the floor. All those gears lead up to connect to our top millstone here in this wooden piece called the vat. So the vat is where all of the grinding is actually taking place.
When I was touring Cades Cove, a fellow visitor told me I had to go see Laurel Falls because it was beautiful. I love a hike with a payoff along the route. So early on day 2, I decided to check it out, and then I would go to the nearby Sugarlands Visitor Center.
Well, I thought spring break was over, but maybe not. Anyways, I found a parking space. I mean, after lots of hunting around, and the trailhead is way up the road up there.
So here's the trailhead parking area, and you can see it's just full of people. I mean, the good news is I don't like hiking, especially when I'm solo, places where if I get injured, I'm not going to have anybody around, but then there's also like too many people. And this might be the case here, but we're just going to see. Okay, this is Laurel Falls. Time to find another hike. I mean, it's pretty. There's just way too many people.
All right, let's head over now to the Sugarlands Visitor Center and see if it's any better there.
This is the traffic to try to get into the Sugarlands Visitor Center. Oh my gosh. Okay, this reminds me of Disneyland. This is crazy. So my job now is to just self-guide myself through this park because I am not stopping at this visitor center. I mean, look at that. Look at that. It's crazy. I'm not stopping here. And I'm going to find some peace and quiet somewhere because that's what I really want. It's just some peace and quiet. And this is not peace and quiet.
The following day was a great time to strategize. Remember those severe tornado-producing storms in the south? The remnants of those storms came into the East Tennessee area the next day. Perfect time to take a breather and make a crowd avoidance plan. 3 important strategies came to me during this day off. 1. Get started early. 2. Look for less popular, at least moderate difficulty hikes. And 3. Treat yourself.
I'm in Cades Cove Loop, so you have to have a loop scoop when you're here. My gosh, this looks so good. Oh my gosh, it is so good. Okay, the reason why you don't see anything is because it's the middle of the night. But what you are hearing in the Great Smoky Mountains is a thunder shower. Now, it's raining really hard. And I'm just thinking about the tent campers. And I can't see outside as to what they're doing, but this cannot be fun. Okay, there's got to be a morning after, and this is it. It rained so hard last night, everything is soaked. These people, I don't know where they went. The car is gone, but everything, you can see everything is just soaked. All right, this is the approach to the Abrams Falls trailhead. As you can see, there's a lot of people here, but not too many. There's plenty of place to park. So what this means to me is that there's enough people that it's not so remote that I won't get in any trouble if I get hurt or something happens. And there's few enough people that I won't be so crowded by people all the time. Hey everybody, what you see behind me here is Abrams Falls. It's beautiful. Hike here was easy to moderate, 2.6 miles. And the reason why there's so much water coming over the falls is because of the very, very heavy thunderstorms we had last night. So it's a treat to kind of see this much volume coming over the falls. It's made it all worth it. I love a hike with a good payoff. When I was a kid and we were on vacation with Dad, he would always walk so slow. And we'd be like, Dad, would you hurry up? And he would always just stroll. And now that I'm that age, I totally get it. And so I'm kind of on this hike right now, and I'm wondering what's the big rush to get back. There's no big rush. And so in honor of Dad in the last mile or so, I'm just gonna stroll like that. Let everybody pass me by. And as Dad would say, just enjoy.
On the way back from the falls, I was treated to a rare bear sighting. And I'm thinking, if I didn't slow down and do the dad stroll, I would have walked right by and missed this. It was like a little gift from Dad for the day. Thanks, Dad. It's time to head over to Smokemont Campground to check out the North Carolina side of the park. So at this point, I'm going to discuss strategy 4. Park away from the attraction and hike or bike to it. You might recall I discussed this strategy in episode 2 while I was at Joshua Tree National Park. This is particularly effective when you're pulling an RV and parking would be near impossible. My goal today is to employ strategy 3 with a nice lunch in Gatlinburg while also visiting the Sugarlands Visitor Center. So I knew there would be some turnouts I could park in within at least a mile of the visitor center. I could park there and then walk to the visitor center, check it out, and then take the Gatlinburg Trail and walk into town, getting my hike in for the day.
The visitor center is down there. And my strategy, because there's no parking there, is I found this little turnout here to park in. I've got a parking permit. And I'm gonna walk the Gatlinburg Trail. This is the line to get to the visitor center at Great Smoky Mountains.
Okay, this plan is working out perfectly. In fact, it worked out so well that I was actually starting to really like the Great Smoky Mountains. what a pleasant way to get into and out of Gatlinburg.
Okay, I gotta tell you, this was the easiest way to get into Gatlinburg and not deal with parking. And also the prettiest. It was a really pretty hike. Definitely still spring break here. I had lunch over there at Smith & Son. Excellent burger. But it is time for me to get out of here and get to my campsite and enjoy some peace and quiet.
The border between Tennessee and North Carolina splits the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in two. A ranger told me that the North Carolina side of the park is typically much quieter because you don't have nearby tourist towns like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg attracting so many people. Based on my experience, that ranger was right. So strategy number 5 would be visit the North Carolina side of the park. So let's explore. A beautiful hike I went on was the Smokemont Loop Trail. This loop is about 6 miles and moderate difficulty. What I loved about it is that the trailhead was maybe 50 yards from my campsite.
This is the Smokemont Loop Trail. You can kind of see it through the trees. And it's been beautiful this entire way so far. And there's been virtually nobody on this trail. But I was reassured by the ranger that coming across a bear would be very rare. But I'd say coming across people here is also very rare. And that's kind of cool.
On this trail, I ran into park maintenance staff Sophie and Joel, who were clearing a fallen tree. Big appreciation to them both. You know, these staff hike long distances carrying heavy equipment so that visitors have a safe and pleasant hike. Now, Joel happens to be from Michigan, and he told me that when I'm up there in a few weeks, I need to see the Sleeping Bear Dunes area on the Upper Peninsula. So I jotted it down.
I was just passing by this little puddle, and I see a gazillion tadpoles in there. Do you see them? Definitely signs of spring. Pause and take a look around. You never know what you'll see.
The Oconaluftee Visitor Center is only 4 miles away from the Smokemont Campground and has beautiful exhibits and preserved buildings from the 1800s. The Visitor Center is way less crowded than Sugarlands, but midday parking can still be a challenge, so remember strategy 1 and go early. Now from here, there is a 1.5-mile trail that you can mountain bike into Cherokee, which is on Cherokee Reservation land. Here you'll find shops and restaurants. It was a quaint and charming place, and I'll bet in summer it does get pretty busy here. I found it a perfect smaller place to employ strategy number 3. On the way back, this herd of elk was grazing in the river, and it turns out I'd see them multiple times throughout my 4 days here. I think this mom might have been saying I was too close to her nearby calf, so I decided to put the camera away and just get on my way. Clingman's Dome is another very popular location that I wouldn't even attempt after 9 a.m. Other visitors told me there was like a mile-long backup of cars just to park here. So I decided to try to catch sunrise at this location, the highest point in the Great Smoky Mountains at 6,643 feet. Now this is employing strategy number 1, get up early. Now, while the actual observation tower was fogged in, about a mile from the parking area, I pulled over just in time to see this. After witnessing that beautiful sunrise, I made my way up to the observation tower. Now, due to the smoke of the Great Smoky Mountains, you're not guaranteed a view of the sunrise or the surrounding valley. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to time your view of the sunrise or the sunset or anything else. The best views may not be from the observation tower.
This is the hike to Clingman's Dome, and it was fogged in this morning for the sunrise, but I did find a place to catch the sunrise. But the clouds are just breaking now, so you can see the sun peeking through there. And it was a pretty steep hike to get here, but not bad. It's only a half mile long. Been in a clearing there. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, look at the herd of elk over there. Look at the herd of elk just walking by the visitor center. Right through the parking lot. How cool is that? It's 9:01 a.m. This is the Allen Cave trailhead, and it is completely packed. It's got to be packed parking-wise a mile in each direction up the road. So if you're going to do this hike, you got to think about the 5-mile hike in itself. But if you to get parking, you're going to be another mile or mile and a half away, which is going to add another couple miles at least to your hike. So I'm going to keep going and try Chimney Tops. And if that is full, then I've got a third option that I know is going to work. But you can see just the hiking near these very popular, the parking near these very popular hikes is always packed. It's not even a weekend, it's Tuesday. Good morning, this is the Chimney Tops Trail. I found a great parking space close by, and it just starts off beautiful. Look at the water, how clear it is. It's just amazing. I love a good mountain hike. Cool, beautiful morning. Let's go.
I thought it might be fun just to see how clear and how cold the water is. So come on in with me. Yeah, this water is freezing cold. And I was amazed how clear and clean it is. Have you ever seen a waterfall from the backside? There it is.
When you hike the Great Smoky Mountains, you can look forward to walking beside beautiful water, over it like this. This is the third gorgeous waterfall on this hike on the Chimney Tops. And I think I'm only like a quarter of the way up. It's beautiful. So awesome. The air is so clean. The water is so clear. The sky, crystal clear blue. This is becoming one of my favorites.
What I'm just figuring out is that this hike had a small amount of available parking at 9 a.m., probably because it's strenuous.
So that first set of stairs that I filmed about 10 minutes ago was like the first of 3 sets like that. This trail is challenging. Chimney Tops. Mitchell, if you're watching, you would call this hike a death march. All right, y'all get to enjoy it with me. This is where the lookout is at Chimney Top. Oh, and I think all those stairs were worth it. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful day. Okay, so one of the ways I'm outsmarting the crowds is I'm parking here in this area, which is just this little pull out to the side of the road on the way up to Klingman's Dome. And then I'm going to just walk the 1.7 miles on this trail back to Newfound Gap, and you'll see when I get there, the crowds there are just insane. So why challenge all the parking there and go through all that headache when I can hike on this wonderful trail? Say I've hiked the Appalachian Trail and park in a nice, you know, open space right here. Easy parking, easy in and out.
Now, on this trail, meet my new friends John and Brenda from Michigan. We had a great visit while we hiked. When they found out I was traveling to the Upper Peninsula, guess what they said? Yep, You gotta see Sleeping Bear Dunes. Coincidence or message from above? You decide.
This is the end of that 1.7 mile walk down the Appalachian Trail to Newfound Gap. This is a better view from here of the zoo that is Newfound Gap. This is right on the Tennessee-North Carolina border.
If you really want to get away from it all, try this area, Cataloochee. There's a 10-mile long, single lane, narrow, and winding gravel road to get here, which I think deters some visitation to this area. Okay, as usual, my first step is to stop in at the ranger station and check on hikes and area conditions.
Now, according to the map, this is the Cataloochee area ranger station. And so I just wanted to kind of get some hiking information when I was here. And I'm walking up and it says, as you can see next to the door, private residence. And then on the, see that on the door there? Bees, stay away. Okay, I'm going. Bye.
This would be a good time to discuss Great Smoky Mountains enjoyment strategy number 7. Don't hike alone when there's no one around for miles and you could get eaten by bears. I was going to go hiking on the 6-mile Cataloochee Loop, but with no one around and no cell signal, I thought maybe I'll just ride my bike to the very end of the road and call it good. Along the way, there's more historical structures to explore and area history to learn about. I felt I had this entire section of the Great Smoky Mountains to myself. It's a worthwhile place to visit.
Isn't this amazing? This is Great Smoky Mountains National Park, right next to my campground. You can see I'm just minutes away from heading out. I've been 7 nights here at Great Smoky Mountains, and the first couple of days I was like not sure I was gonna like this national park. There were so many people. Everything was so crowded, but as I learned how to kind of navigate and figure out where to park, where to hike, etc., I found those quiet places. And so here on day 7, I love this park. It's amazing. I cannot wait to return someday and experience this again. Big thumbs up to Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And also, hey, Tennessee and North Carolina both bought all this land and then just subsequently gifted it to the to the federal government for a national park. And so Tennessee and North Carolina, thank you. This is an amazing place and I cannot wait to come back.